Hello, everybody, on this December morning. It's December 5th. This is the Ag Weather Outlook, and I'm John Felt. Over the last week, some spots across the Midwest had a very snowy week, very active, and definitely felt like winter. Other areas were very quiet, and generally speaking, when you look at this area in green here, this is indicating some light precipitation, light to moderate precipitation up to an inch. It came in the form of snow, though, and when you take an inch here in this area in green, and even in cases, a couple spots even closer to this second tier of green, that results in some very heavy snow. So when we look at percent of normal, you can see that parts of the upper Midwest, particularly South Dakota and parts of surrounding states, received much above normal precipitation for the week. Eastern Corn Belt, a lot of red, and that's indicating below normal precipitation and dry. But this clearly shows where the snow occurred over the last week. The area in green is at least 6 to 9 inches of snow. The darker green is 9 to 12 inches of snow. In some cases, record snowfall for early in the year within that region. So parts of northwest Iowa, parts of southeast South Dakota, northeast Nebraska, southwest Minnesota. It's been a pretty active start to the year as far as snowfall goes. Still some snow on the ground, quite a bit of snow on the ground in spots. And this early in the year, even though snow is common, we've really gotten a lot and an unusual amount. So here's the snow depth that's on the ground. The second shade of blue there, the sort of the darker shade, is still saying about 4 inches or even up to 8 inches of snow, and probably localized a few more. So that's a fairly widespread snow coverage for this time of year over the upper Midwest. And that is going to impact temperatures for a while, because when you have that snow on the ground, overnight low temperatures are going to be colder than surrounding areas, and daytime high temperatures are not going to rise as much as surrounding areas. Now, before I talk about that, let's look at temperatures over the last week. Generally a little bit above or a little bit below normal, not a big extreme. I think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to see more significant anomalies. And actually, this type of pattern here with yellows and reds over the eastern half of the U.S., greens and blues over the west, I think that's going to be the story. In other words, yellow and red is going to be above normal, blue and green is below normal. Now, if you read some of my posts, I've been looking up, way up in Canada, up in the Arctic regions, because when we have cold air that pools, and cold air is indicated here, these are anomalies, so that would be blue. When cold air pools, it tends to sink south. Now, it might not be right away, but when I start seeing this cold air pooling, I'm looking at a week, 10 days down the road, it's going to sink south, and we're going to have an outbreak of cold Arctic air. But look what we see over large parts of Canada at the current time, that area in red. And that's saying not only don't I see that cold pooling air, but what I see is unusually warm air. So just looking at this, without even looking at any models, looks to me like we're in for a fairly nice period as we go at least to the middle of the month. And I actually think it's going to be through most of the month of December. So here's the jet stream this week. Remember, when you see browns, that's indicating the jet stream's further north than normal. It equates to generally above normal temperatures. Blue would be jet stream lower than normal. Now, remember I said that temperatures are going to be affected by the snow cover? Well, these are high temperatures today. And look at the shades of green here. This is indicating temperatures about 5 degrees cooler than surrounding areas. So you can see that snow, until it melts, and it's going to take 2 or 3 days before you really start getting most of that snow off the ground. Temperatures in the 40s are going to really help melt it, but it's going to take some time, and until that occurs, it's going to be a bit cooler. So in other words, 40 degrees right here, you go down not all that far, and it's almost near 50 in here, and it's almost mid to upper 40s in this region. So temperatures anomalies this week, definitely warmer temperatures over the snowpack, so that's going to melt that snow in a couple days most likely. Everywhere above normal temperatures, but the warmest are going to be in the upper Midwest this week. Now, there will be a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow here and there. There's a very weak front moving through. Not much cold, cold air, if any, behind it, so it's going to be very weak, but it could bring some light rain or light snow here and there. But overall, a very quiet week with below normal precipitation. Matter of fact, from the whole nation, if you look at the action spot, that's going to be the Pacific Northwest with extreme rainfall, likelihood of flooding, and debris flow along higher elevations in that region. Now, I did say there's be a little bit of snow. You can see here's the snow forecast. Here and there in the colder air, I think there could be a bit of snow. I don't think it's going to necessarily be significant in most areas. And with temperatures above freezing, I think it's going to melt very quickly. I really don't think there's going to be too much as far as snowfall. So as far as the precipitation anomaly, it looks like almost the entire Corn Belt this week will be below normal as far as precipitation, with, again, the eastern Corn Belt second week in a row with well below normal precipitation over the week. So soils have been pretty wet over the parts of the eastern Corn Belt, not the entire section. I think these 2 weeks are really bringing it back into the normal range. Okay, now let's look a little bit further out. Now the big difference I see week 2 and 3 compared to this first week is we begin to get a dip in the jet stream over the west and a continued ridge of the jet stream, or a bulging north of the jet stream over the east. And that means we're going to have a more pronounced cool in the west, mild in the east type pattern. So if you're in the far western Corn Belt, you'll be sort of in the middle. But if you're in the central or the eastern Corn Belt here, you're going to be in the milder sector of that air mass. So here are your temperatures. Look at week 2. Now, right now, the models are saying that 6 to 10 day period is going to be quite warm. We're looking at temperatures 8 and in some cases 12 degrees above normal during the period of December 10th through the 15th. So it looks like over almost all of the Corn Belt, as a matter of fact, almost the entire central and eastern U.S. above normal temperatures. And then not much change the 15th through the 20th. I don't think the temperatures might be quite as mild, but still right through December 20th, it looks like overall the story is going to be mild temperatures. Now that does not mean that there won't be a stray cold front or two that'll temporarily bring temperatures down. I think we will see some of that, but this is the average, and I think overall we're looking at a mild pattern. As far as week 2 goes, as far as precipitation, there could be some more. Models are indicating in that medium shade of green the possibility, but it looks like the upper Midwest, especially areas that have received a lot of snow, are going to be tending on the dry side, and maybe the far eastern Corn Belt central sections could get some precipitation. So enjoy the weather. It looks like an overall pretty pleasant pattern as we go into December. I don't see much cold air. I see below normal temperatures or below normal precipitation. I see temperatures. I think that's going to really be the big story when I look at everything. It's going to be the mild temperatures as we get into at least the middle part of the month. So enjoy the weather, and I will be talking with you again quite soon.